Hello YouTube, how is it going? I have a match for you today against HouseofWolves100, and I'm pretty sure we've battled before in NU, and this is a PU specific battle. And looking at his team, I kind of like the look of this. We got Zora, who I've never seen in a team before, Yanma, who I've never seen before, and the rest I think are all in PU as well, so yeah, pretty sure it is a PU match. And it turned out to be a really interesting match, quite a long one, but a good one nonetheless. And so we'll get into it in just a sec. Here we go. Now, he's deciding to lead off with his Zeb Striker, and I'm going to go ahead and lead off with my Cornetto. Now, the cool thing is here, this is kind of the lead I wanted. Normally a Zeb Striker will be like Choice Scarf or Choice Specs, and it will just Volt Switch out. That's normally people's intentions. However, either he knows I've Mirror Coat, or he predicts some kind of weird shenanigans, I don't know what, but it turns out he switches straight out, and that kind of ruins my plan, but it's fine. It goes into Ordino, and I have Taunt, which completely shuts down Ordino. I mean, it will carry like one attack, like it will have either Return or Flamethrower, T-Bolt, something like that. And to be honest, especially defensive Vanillux, I almost called it Cornetto there. Especially defensive Vanillux, which is breathing smoke out of its flake there for some reason, is definitely not threatened by an Ordino. So that's fine. Now it goes back to Zeb Striker, and I think I could probably take an Overheat, but even so, I'm going to switch out, just go into my Flareon, maybe thinking he'll double switch or something, but even so, Overheat I can take very well, and that does, what, less than 100, so not too bad. Now here's the crucial mistake. I do see that he's Life Orb, but apparently it didn't occur to me that he could potentially be a mix set. Which is ironic, because that's exactly the set I run on Zeb Striker. I run a physically offensive one, just with Overheat, just for coverage, but you know, I guess he has a similar kind of set going on here, and that caught me off guard, because I wasn't thinking at all. Now I go into Basculin as it goes into Monferno. I think I must have predicted that, otherwise I don't know why I would have gone into Basculin, but it works out either way. Now he goes to Ordino to take whatever hit from me. Now this Basculin is kind of a set which I've been loving recently. Like, it's... whenever I build a team, I tend to have a physical wall, a special wall, and then like one physical attacker, one special attacker, and then one of two possibilities. Either another physical and another special attacker, or one trolling Pokemon and one mixed attacker. In this case, Basculin is the mixed attacker to replace my mixed Swanna, and I have a Murkrow here as the trolling Pokemon, which is cool. Now, I deliberately go into Murkrow here knowing that he'll probably go for either T-Wave or Toxic, because, my friends, my Murkrow, he has an interesting kind of set. I've been messing around with different Prankster Murkrow sets recently, and most of them have worked pretty badly. Like, I've been embarrassed a fair few times in games where Murkrow has done nothing. But in this game, Murkrow actually does some good work, so, you know, I Psycho Shift over the Paralysis. Now I go back to Sandshrew. I don't know what I thought he'd do, but it turns out he goes to Yanma. He probably predicted me going into Sandshrew, to be honest, because Yanma will completely destroy Sandshrew. Now, I've looked at Yanma in the past, and I know that it does get speed boost, and it has, I guess, reasonable special attack. So it's likely to be carrying Bug Buzz, Giga Drain, and Air Slash, sort of a Mothim type set. Either that, or I thought it would be like a Compound Eyes Hypnosis thing, but either way, Murkrow's the guy to take it. Now I go for Foul Play as he brings in Sandshrew. Who is this imposter Sandshrew, and what is he doing on the other side of the field? Shrew Manchu is not impressed. Now I am going to go for Copycat because he went for Rocks. I think I was actually predicting Knockoff, trying to get rid of my Murkrow's Weavile, but you know, that kind of works out as well. Get at my Rocks, and it means I don't have to bring in Sandshrew, which could easily be threatened by the Yanma. Now he goes into his Shrew Manchu. It's not Shrew Manchu, Sandshrew once again, as I go for a sub. Now I'm pretty sure that I can take it out with one Psychic from here. Eviolite Sandshrew is pretty bulky, but only on the physical side. There's been too many times when I've thought oh yeah, you know, Sandshrew is bulky, it can take a special hit. It can't take any special hits, except that one, which it apparently did take. I'm putting that down to the fact that my Mr. Mime doesn't have Life Orb, and he's Tib in nature as opposed to Modest, but as a general rule of thumb, Sandshrew can't take special attacks at all. So he does break my sub. That's a bit unfortunate, but you know, now he's going to bring in his Monferno. I would hazard a guess that he's some kind of weird... Well, okay, I thought it was Monferno, and I kind of thought, okay, if he had a Sash, it'd be broken, so I can go for Psychic, and he's not really a threat. But I probably should have realised from him bringing it in like this that it was his Zora, and it turns out that Scarf Zora does outspeed Mr. Mime, and it can Oko Mr. Mime. Jesus Christ, I mean, I know it's super effective, but I think Mr. Mime has like base 120 or 110 special defense, so it turns out the Zora is a lot more powerful than I thought it was, so I gotta give him credit for using something like that. I mean, it's definitely not the thing you see every day in PU, so yeah, it definitely caught me off guard. So now I go back to Sandshrew, and I don't know if Audino could really do much to Sandshrew. A Flamethrower would be the best thing he could do, really. And now I'm going to go ahead and go for a Rapid Spin just to get him out of the way. I think his Sandshrew is now dead, so, you know, once they're out of the way, they're gone for good, which is ideal for switching in Murkrow and stuff like that. So now I go back to said Murkrow to take whatever. I think he predicts this and goes for Bug Buzz, which I actually thought I'd take a lot better than that, but I assume it is, well, I think he's Life Orb, and of course Stab, whatever, so yeah, that's still going to do a decent amount. So I go to Vanillux, who is my special wall. Not the best of special walls, but it can kind of work. You know, Mirror Coat, Taunt, Toxic, Ice Beam. It's not a bad set, to be honest, but yeah, it can take a couple of hits from the Yanma and just kill it off with an Ice Beam. That is good. Now, if it came down to it, I could at least go back into my Basculin, which does have the Aqua Jet priority. Always good to have on a team. There was a period a couple of days ago where I'd be running all these different teams, and I'd look back at them and realise that I have no priority and no decent speed, so I'd essentially be destroyed by fast sweepers like Sork, Swellow, that kind of stuff. So always, always keep priority on your team. That is Shrew-Manchu's top tip of the day. Now it brings in the Audino as I go for a knockoff. I was kind of hoping he'd stay in so I could knock off whatever item his Monferno had. Now I go to my Murkrow once again, as I think he predicts this and does a double switch here into his Monferno. Actually no, I think that was the Zora, because he U-turns out, goes into the other Monferno, which I believe is the real one, and I go for a Foul Play. It doesn't, you know, break the illusion, so obviously this is the real Monferno. Now I switch out, go back into Shrew-Manchu, because there's nothing Monferno can do. If he's not specially based, a Monferno can't even touch Sandshrew. So now he switches out, goes back to Audino, and I am going to go for... Well, I think I double switch here, yeah. I double switch, go out into my Basculin. I don't know if I was predicting this switch in particular. I think I probably was, because I do have the superpower, and I can definitely do some good damage to Audino. Sorry, Audino. I love you, but you gotta take a hit once in a while. That's what you're there for, right? Go for a superpower, and doesn't quite take it out, unfortunately, so my Basculin has to get paralyzed. The set I'm running on this thing, by the way, is most people will run like a fully physical Basculin, because that's what it's best at, really. I kind of thought, well, Basculin naturally outspeeds any wall if you don't put in any speed investment, and it can kind of benefit from having the coverage of Ice Beam on the special side, plus Surf, plus Aqua Jet, plus Superpower, and I kind of thought, okay, well if I invest max special attack, max attack, and no speed, it can be a pretty decent mixed sweeper. I think it works quite well, to be honest. So I bring in Vanillux to take whatever attack from the Zora. It turns out he goes for Grass Knot, which is fine. Now I Toxic as he brings back in the Monferno. Now I don't know if I'm actually going to need Vanillux much, but I think I do decide to switch to Sandshrew anyway, just because there is nothing that, like I said, Monferno can actually do to Sandshrew. Goes for Fire Punch and does a reasonable chunk, I guess. I think we find out in a sec he is Choice Banded, which kind of makes sense. And let me tell you, don't underestimate Monferno. I've had a couple of games, even in RU, where Monferno has been the star player. If you get up a Sword Stance or Nasty Plot, you can go for Priority Fighting type move, pick your favourite, Fire Punch / Flamethrower, and Thunder Punch / whatever special attack you want. HP Grasp, don't know. Point is, it's a pretty viable sweeper. Now I go back into Trollcadan once again, and he goes for Night Days. I think he's Choice Scarfed, as we found out earlier, so he has to keep going for Night Days, obviously. Which I think has a chance to lower accuracy. Not too familiar with Zora and Zorak, but something like that. And I reveal my last move on Murkrow here, which is the Torment. Now, Torment I've never seen used in any competitive battle, but I think Torment does actually have some good potential. If you run it on a Prankster Murkrow, like, you can come in on any fast sweeper, like I'll use the classic example of Sork or Pinsir. You can just Torment it, and even though they'll probably kill Murkrow, it does mean that whatever you bring in next won't be able to get hit by the same attack. They'll either have to struggle or switch out, so it's quite good for that kind of situation. But yeah, that was a great game. It really did come quite close towards the end. I think all I had left was Murkrow, so yeah, it was a good game, so hope you all enjoyed. And with that being said, I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.